Welcome back to the Fire Unleashed. In part one of this series, I broke down some of the big awakening buzzwords that you hear everywhere. Dark night of the soul, spiritual crisis, ascension, enlightenment, and 5D. Today, we're going to move into the 5 that take it from theory into practice. Embodiment, integration, transcendence, authenticity, and sovereignty. Here's the problem. If you don't understand these words deeply, your awakening can stay stuck in the clouds. Lots of ideas, lots of visions, but no real transformation in how you live, love, or lead. So in this video, I'm going to break down what each of these actually means, how they show up in daily life, and why they're the bridge between awakening as chaos and awakening as transformation into a you that thrives, not only surviving. Why me? Because I had to live this. My awakening wasn't just visions and downloads. It was rebuilding my nervous system after collapse, walking through shadow integration, and learning how to ground mystical truth into real choices. That's what embodiment, integration, transcendence, and authenticity and sovereignty are to me. Not concepts, but truths that I had to master not only to survive, but to step into a higher version of myself who thrives. And I believe that we have infinite levels above us. So don't think that I'm sitting here all hoity-toity having arrived. I'm still walking through fire to get to my next higher level. If you're here, thanks for walking the path with me for a little while. Now, if you missed part 1, I'm going to link it below. And make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss what's coming next. Let's get into it. Awakening isn't about collecting mystical experiences. It's an invitation, an opportunity to rise into the most authentic, highest expression of you. Awakening lets you see the truth, to stop being secretly run by shadow and to reclaim energetic sovereignty so that you can actually choose your life instead of it being chosen by fear, instinct, and habit. It's not about escaping the world. It's about creating a better one. Awakening happens to us. What we do with it, though, is everything. So, as I walk you through the meanings of these words, if something stands out, don't let it be an idea that you admire. Try it out, practice it, live it. That's what this video is for, and that's what awakening is for. And that is what the Fire Unleashed is. Us taking awakening as a frame and building an empire and a whole new world, transformed through awakening and living from the fire within. Namaste. Before we dive into all of these meanings, this is where my work focuses most, helping people to embody their awakening, integrate the hard-won lessons, and step into sovereignty. If that's where you are right now, you'll find links in the description to apply for one-to-one coaching or to join my free community, The Fire, where we walk this path together. Now let's begin. We are starting with embodiment. We hear this word everywhere in awakening and spiritual circles, but what does it actually mean? A lot of people mistake embodiment for spiritual aesthetic. You know what I mean. Yoga classes, meditation photoshops, shelves stacked with spiritual books, where they say all of the right words about awakening, ascension, and the shift, but when you look at their actual lives, it doesn't match. Maybe they're still blowing up in anger every day, numbing out on weekends, or living in constant chaos. That's not embodiment. That's spiritual language without integration. Embodiment is rarer than people think, and yet it's also unavoidable. Because here's the truth. We're always embodying something. Your outer life mirrors your inner state. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, I'm just using wealth for an example because, wealth manifestation is everywhere these days, right? So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, working yourself raw and saying, I'm manifesting millions, it doesn't mean that millions are impossible for you. It just means that up until now, what you've been embodying has matched the results that you see around you. We don't attract what we want. We attract what we are. And this is where integrity comes in. Integrity isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's what you do when nobody's watching. Imagine being left in a jewelry store where all the alarms are off and the clerk collapses from a heart attack. Do you run off with the diamonds, or do you honor what you know is right, call for help, and leave every stone untouched? That's integrity. And integrity is the ground of embodiment, because embodiment isn't about talking a good game. It's about living the frequency that you say you value and believe in. If I say emotional regulation is important, but I'm constantly dysregulated, then my embodiment is out of sync. If I claim awakening is about compassion, but I'm cutting people down for sport, then I'm not embodying compassion. I'm embodying shadow. Here's a simple way to think about it. If you want something that you don't have yet, you need to become someone you've never been before, because everything that you've embodied so far has gotten you exactly where you are now. Embodiment is the process of closing the gap, walking your talk, aligning your nervous system, your choices, your relationships, your daily life with the truth that you claim. That is embodiment. It's not about the pose, the posts, or the philosophy. It's about who you are when no one is watching, and whether the life around you reflects the truth that you say you're here to live. The key to embodiment is not in trying harder. I just want to make that clear. It's important to get really clear on your values and then create an action plan for how to get to the level of embodiment that you want to inhabit. If you need help doing this, please consider working with me. My one-to-ones are exclusive and I only work with a select few. But if you're willing to put your all into them and invest in yourself, there's a good chance that you're the type of person that I accept to work with me in that way. And if you do the work, you will leave changed. Links are in the description. Now let's talk about integration. Integration is where awakening becomes transformation. It's when the mystical insights that you touched in meditation or ceremony stop floating around as ideas and start taking root in your daily life. It's how your new awareness reshapes your relationships, choices, and even how you care for your body and nervous system. Here's how I see it. Embodiment is a state of being, but integration is the work that gets you there. Integration is a verb. It's the process of taking what you've learned, what you've awakened to, and actually weaving it into your lived experience. When you integrate something fully, it becomes part of who you are. That's when it shows up as embodiment. Think of parts work or internal family systems, which has become really popular lately. We all carry different parts inside of us. You've probably heard of the inner child, that tender part of us that still craves safety or love. There's also the inner critic, that harsh voice that tells you that you're not good enough. And for some, it even echoes in the voice of a parent or a teacher from the past. Then there are parts of us tied to fear of rejection, imposter syndrome, even protector parts that sabotage opportunities because deep down, they're just trying to keep you safe. Each one of our parts has a shadow and a light side. And integration doesn't mean exiling the shadow. It means bringing those parts back into the whole, healing them, listening to them, and helping them shift from working against you to working with you. Integration is healing the demon instead of trying to exorcise it. It's embracing the wounded parts so that they can become allies instead of saboteurs. This is what it means to live in a dualistic world. Everything here has light and shadow, including us. And our job isn't to eliminate the shadow, but to integrate it, to take the lessons from it and weave them back into our wholeness. So integration is anything that we take in and make a part of ourselves. It's applying the downloads, the insights, the aha moments into your everyday working life. It's taking what you know in your head or what you've touched in your soul and teaching your body, your nervous system, your choices, and living it. And when we do that consistently, integration gives birth to embodiment. Integration is the path. Embodiment is the destination. If you're enjoying this video so far, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you want more grounded awakening content based in science and soul, please do subscribe. And as always, if you want to connect with me and others on the same path, join my free community at thefire.circle.so. The link is in the description. We'd love to walk with you. Now, transcendence is another one of those words that gets confused. People often think that it means escaping, floating above your humanity, and never feeling pain again. I've transcended that. Okay, transcendence isn't bypassing. It's rising above limiting illusions. It's when the old patterns, identities, and programs that used to run you no longer have the same grip on you. Think of it like leveling up in a video game. You don't escape the game, you're still in it, but suddenly the things that used to take you out at level 3 don't touch you anymore because you've grown. You've seen the traps before they spring and you know the shortcuts. You play the game differently. Transcendence is when you can hold a higher perspective without needing to deny or suppress the human experience. You still feel, but you're not swallowed by it. You can grieve without drowning. You can be angry without being consumed. That is transcendence. That was a lot shorter than the other explanations, right? But it really is that simple. It fits side by side with the words from my first video, such as enlightenment and ascension. So if you haven't watched that video, go watch it after this one. The link is below. Let's move on to authenticity now. I believe authenticity is the foundational frequency of New Earth. I've got a whole video on that I'll link below. But before we dive into authenticity, let me pause to define what I mean by New Earth. Traditions all over the world have talked about it. In the Bible, Revelation describes a new heaven and a new earth, where suffering ends, people live longer, and the world is reordered. Personally, I read Revelation as symbolic. It's about something that happens inside of us first. The war, the death, the rebirth, and the unveiling that brings about a paradigm shift. But once it happens within, it reshapes the world around us too. The inner and outer are mirrors. You've heard the phrase, as within, so without, as above, so below. Now, astrologically, people talk about moving from Pisces into Aquarius, the age of truth, knowledge, and community. In Hindu cosmology, it's the shift from the Kali Yuga, the heavy iron age, into the Dvarpa Yuga, the Bronze Age, an age of more light. But that age ascends up through the silver Treta age into the golden age known as the Satya Yuga. And so you can see how the two kind of overlap. Revelation saying we're going to go into this darkness and then ascend into a cycle of bliss forever, because it takes a really long time to get through these yuga cycles. So that could be considered an eternity. Anyways, you can feel it now in the collapse of systems around us. The fall of Rome seems to be repeating itself, doesn't it? And at the same time, you can feel the possibility of something new being born. At least I hope you can. And if you're not there yet, that is okay. That is what I am here to help you find. Anyways, that's the new earth. Not a magic escape hatch or a sudden rapture. A turning of the age, unfolding both within and around us as we step into higher states of consciousness, which were actually predicted by names such as Carl Jung and philosopher Jean Gebser, which I have a video coming out in about a couple of weeks talking about the proof of this age change and those who predicted it. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss it. Anyways, here's where authenticity comes in. We can't build a new earth on top of old lies. If we aren't living authentically, all we're doing is recreating the same world with prettier branding. Authenticity often gets misunderstood for sincerity. Someone once commented on my Instagram, even people who live from ego are being authentic. I don't see it that way. Those people might be sincere, but authenticity isn't just honesty about how you feel. Authenticity is your true self, your higher self, living through you because you're aligned to and are now living from its frequency. It is my belief that we are all one with Source, and Source at its highest dimension isn't concerned with all our 3D trivialities. Our true higher self is all loving, wise, with the ability to see all angles, and pure. And that part of us is the part that agreed to come to Earth, to experience specific things and to play specific roles. When that comes through you in body, words, and in the choices that you make, that's authenticity, embodied. If your nervous system is fried and your shadow and ego are running the show, what comes out may be real, but it isn't your truth. It's reactivity, defense, and performance. Authenticity is congruence. Your values, your words, and your actions lining up. Telling yourself the truth first, and then telling the world that truth through living it without shaming or doing harm. It's being willing to disappoint others rather than betray yourself, but also taking responsibility when you mess up, repairing, learning from mistakes, and growing. That is authenticity. not blurting out rudeness to be real, not perfection, but alignment. And as more of us live from that place, personally and collectively, we begin midwifing the new earth. Now on to sovereignty. This word used to annoy me. It sounded so puffy, like, all hail the sovereign queen. I didn't even really know what it meant. A lot of people, like I did, mix sovereignty with liberty. So here's the difference. Liberty is what society grants you. It's the legal permission and social freedom to move, speak, work, vote, travel, or start a business, always within the lines of its laws. It's external and it can be given and it can be taken away. Sovereignty has the word reign in it. When you reign, you make the rules. You choose how you show up. That can be in shadow or in light, but the consequences are yours. They're cause and effect, not because somebody else had a leash on you and told you what to do or what you could do. Now, can any of us be 100% sovereign in the current 3D setup? That's a big question. We live on a planet where almost all land is owned. Money is required to meet needs, and power structures exist. Some people on the world stage get a version of outer sovereignty, like diplomats who have immunity. So yes, in some ways it exists, and with self-mastery, I do believe that we can get closer to it. But what I'm teaching is sovereignty on the inside. Sovereignty, the way I use it, is about inner authorship. It's the ability to choose from your truth without being hijacked by fear, approval seeking, programming, addictions, debt dynamics, or someone else's narrative about who you should be. It's not that the world suddenly changes its rules for you. We still have bills, laws, systems, and gatekeepers, but energetic sovereignty means that there's nothing inside of you holding your choices hostage. And here's why this matters. Without sovereignty, authenticity is impossible. If you're still owned by the fear of rejection, you won't speak your truth. If you're still hooked on approval, you'll bend yourself into versions that please others instead of standing as who you are. Sovereignty is what frees you up to live authentically. How do you know that you're becoming sovereign? You say no faster when it's a no, and yes only when it's clean and feels right to you. You stop making choices to manage other people's perceptions. Your money choices start matching your values. You limit what has access to your nervous system, media, substances, drama, and you build capacity so that your body stays steady while you choose what's aligned. There's a common confusion here. Sovereignty is not isolation, and it's not rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's not flipping off every rule. Real sovereignty includes responsibility for your words, to your impact, and to reality itself. It's interdependence by choice, not codependence by default. When your nervous system is regulated and your shadow feels safe and has been integrated, you're no longer run by fear or programming. You're back in the driver's seat, and that is sovereignty. So a quick recap. Embodiment is about living the truth in your body and choices. Integration is the process of making awakening livable so that it becomes transformation into embodiment. Transcendence is rising above illusions while still honoring your humanity. Authenticity is your higher self shining through your human self. And sovereignty is inner authorship, the freedom to choose from truth instead of fear and programming. These words aren't just buzzwords. They're how awakening turns into real, lasting change. If this video helped you, make sure that you're subscribed. This channel is dedicated to helping you awaken, rise, and thrive so that you and I can build the new earth, a better earth for ourselves, our children, and for those who come after us. Because believe it or not, you were born for such a time as this, and you have an important part to play in what's unfolding. If you want to connect, join my free community, The Fire, at thefire.circle.so. That's where I share live sessions, practices, and tools to walk this journey hand in hand. And for those of you who feel called to personalized support, where we work directly on embodiment, integration, and sovereignty in your life, there's a link below to apply for one-to-one coaching. Remember, awakening isn't about escaping. It's about becoming more fully yourself here and now in this life. I'll see you in the next video.